Other questions? I'll come to you next, Aaron. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if you have been helping any minors that are in the U.S. as domestic workers, if you have any statistics on that.
Are you asking me? I haven't represented any minors who have been in domestic work. I've represented minors in other industries, but some of my peers have represented minors who have been brought in, like on for other reasons, and found that they were forced to do housework in their stead, and were not paid or paid very little.
Does anyone else want to answer that? Encountering minors in your work and children?
We don't have children like that's, but we had a young worker. You can see in the book. There was a young worker. How she traveled. Diplomat brought her here, and she has to work leave her country to go to other in the Middle East to get a job, and she came here by the travel agency, and it's like a agency deal game there also. So she would come here, and then diplomat abuse her. So we rescue her, but she never brought up her case. We had to write a letter because they took her the passport also. So we got back the passport, but she never wanted to bring a case. So yeah, she was very young at the time she came here.
Aaron?
Oh yeah, I was just curious, what were some of the, I guess, like legal challenges or hurdles that you had to go through to build coalitions with other labor unions based on like the citizenship status of some of these workers? Like for non-U.S. citizens, are there any like particular challenges that?
Well, all workers are entitled to the protections of the Labor Standards Act and other employment laws that exist to protect workers. And there are policy reasons behind that because, for one, if you don't protect undocumented workers, not just green card holders or non-citizens, but undocumented workers, if you don't protect them, then there would be an incentive for employers to hire them and exploit them even further. And that would be to the detriment of legal workers, whether they be U.S. citizens or green card holders. So in terms of organizing around that, I mean, I think some of the other organizers could probably speak to that, but just in terms of the legal side, they're on par with each other. And everyone is supposed to be paid for the work that they have already contributed.
One of the things that happen a lot in the industry, when workers are abused in their jobs, we don't highlight whether they are documented or undocumented. We talk about the human rights,
Right.
their right as a worker and their right as a human being if it is violated. And so whether you have your papers or you, like you say, green card holder or not, and you work for someone, I would say most times or all times, that person that hired you knew that you didn't have the status to work. So if they use that to abuse you, we can use what about your human right? What about your right as a worker to live here and work here? Because workers that don't have papers to work here, they work, they shop, they pay rent, they buy, they contribute into the economy, and living here, working here. So it is their right that are being violated as a human being.
I just want to add the two things. One is like so many of our members who apply for T visa, like a trafficking visa. So we ask like LDAP also work for our some cases. We work very closely, I would say. T visa is, even T visa is exist, but it's very difficult to get. Like you have to prove you were abused, and some kind of thing, like it's a one-on-one working. You cannot prove even a lot of things. So employer has so many support. They bring a letter from the friend to saying, oh, I didn't see this woman working with these people. So and some, they try to do those kind of things. Someone bring a claim saying in a Long Island case, like, oh, this woman stole our credit card, and she used it, and she was thief for that. So we had to go through that saying, this woman wasn't allowed to go out. Only time she go to church with them. So how she did it? So it's kind of that kind of allegation they bring that themselves. One challenge is a huge challenges we face, and I think almost every organization faces when case go on and it's legal, and then most of the time we had a settlement out of the court. We don't go through that, and even we had a case like a day, last day, the court hearing happening, that day settlement happened there. But then what happened? They block their mouths. They cannot say anything. They have to sign confidential agreement. And that's make them parallel. That's us also saying, we cannot say that. We had to sometimes play like organizer role. Like, okay, you can say name, cannot say the money. You can say money, cannot say name. So that's kind of dealing in behind. And its case is when it's go and we have a very, very few cases that go for the trial, but we had to settle down, but then they close their mouth. They shut down their mouth, basically.
As domestic workers, what were some of your challenges with your own medical care? Because obviously none of you had any sort of insurance. Did any of the people that have employed you took you to the doctor if you needed? Because us as women need a lot of, I just went for my mammogram today, and I'm sure that those opportunities weren't offered to you ever. Is that something that you're working on?
Is to we in the MIA we have a holistic health program, so we try to access Filipino doctors and nurses and other health providers in the mainstream community, like the Asian American or the Italian American Cancer Foundation, to do free mammogram and pap smear for women. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways, because there's so many health professionals in New York who are willing to support those without health insurance. Also, we give rights training for the uninsured, because although you're uninsured, you still have rights, especially when it's emergency, to get services in the hospitals. But some women try to address their health needs through their relatives and families in the home country. They ask for medicines that they usually use, and really there's so many ways. And in Damayan, we're also trying to explore other ways like natural healing and yoga, wellness, and other forms of health practices that can help the domestic workers.
I will just quickly add to that. Yes, I appreciate you are talking about the time they are inside. So much fear is work, because one is like, if I tell them I'm sick, they're gonna fire me. If they know they are sick, they fire you. We had a member whose diabetes was like 300. Glucose was like 300, but she couldn't tell them that she's sick and she has a diabetes. So she was struggling with this kind, and never they're going to see a doctor with them. Even there's an accident, and they would give Tylenol. If they're lucky, they get Tylenol, or you just stay there. And I don't know, you want to share something, like what you did when, I'm going to asking just her directly, what you did when you were sick, when you were locked up in the home. So, and then lucky thing, like Violet Anthony was one of our members. She got the green card now, and she just within 6 years, she didn't go to India to visit her mom, just came for